This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore.
It is amazing that the party of law and order is also the party that had to pardon dozens of people at the end of Donald Trump's first and only term as president of the United States. I believe the number was actually in the final days, 140 people, including Roger Stone and Paul Manafort and Steve Bannon, who we're talking about today. This headline really says it all. Steve Bannon faces state indictment in New York, will surrender Thursday. And I'm going to read a statement from Steve Bannon that's a real doozy. But in our system, we have a federal and a state system by design. You know, these people who love to wave their little pocket constitutions and talk about supporting and defending the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and they really have a boner for the Constitution, for the founding fathers. They act like it's this perfect form of government, unrivaled by anyone, anywhere on the globe. Some of that may be true. But as soon as the Constitution doesn't agree with them, they start to whine and complain and snivel and gnash their teeth. And it really is telling about what exactly, well, it's just like with them and their Bibles. They cherry pick the things that agree with their worldview. Same with the Constitution. Because in our system, the president can only pardon federal crimes. Because he, up to this point, is the executive of the federal government. Doesn't apply to state government, state cases, state criminality, where a governor would hold dominion over that. So the state of New York is going to try Steve Bannon for a case that he was pardoned for in a federal system. And keep your ear to the ground, because you're going to be hearing all kinds of deflection and diversionary language surrounding whether this is double jeopardy or whatever. And it's not. It's not. It's strictly, absolutely, without a doubt, constitutional. Stephen K. Bannon is expected to surrender to state prosecutors on Thursday to face a new criminal indictment, people familiar with the matter said. Weeks after he was convicted of contempt of Congress, after nearly 2 years after he received a federal pardon from President Donald Trump in a federal fraud case. The precise details of the state case could not be confirmed Tuesday evening, but people familiar with the situation, speaking on the condition of anonymity to discuss a sealed indictment, suggested the prosecution will likely mirror aspects of the federal case in which Bannon was pardoned by the ex POTUS. In that indictment, prosecutors allege that Bannon and several others defrauded contributors to a private $25 million fundraising effort called We Build the Wall, taking funds that donors were told would support construction of a barrier wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. Remember this, like the GoFundMe thing? It was the Air Force veteran. You see him all over the place. He's a multi-amputee, a wounded veteran, a disabled veteran. And you got Steve Bannon with him. And they fleeced their supporters out of that money and spent it on personal shit. I don't know if it's specifically a boat, but that comes to mind. Things like that were done with the money that they were so passionate and patriotic about building a wall on the southern border. Now, Steve Bannon's the only one that got the pardon. The other cases are working their way through the system. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office, which handles state-level prosecutions, has been evaluating Bannon's alleged involvement in that scheme since shortly after Trump pardoned him, the Washington Post reported in February 2021. Presidential pardons, again, like I said, only apply to federal charges and cannot prohibit state prosecutions. Bannon, a former top strategist for Trump, who was briefly a White House aide, pleaded not guilty to the federal charges in August 2020 after authorities pulled him off a luxury yacht and brought him to court. He was accused of pocketing $1 million in the scheme. Months later, in the last hours of his presidency, ex POTUS included Bannon on a sweeping clemency list of about 140 people. Two things, and then I'll read Bannon's statement. One is, how stupid are Trump supporters to walk right into what is clearly a scam? And two, how stupid do Trump aides like Steve Bannon, Trump surrogates like Steve Bannon, how stupid do they believe Trump supporters to be? They must have their finger on the pulse, as it were, because they bilk these people for millions and millions and millions of dollars for a wall. How are you gonna, you gotta buy the land to build a wall on it. And then there's it's a multi-billion-dollar proposition to build a wall the length of the southern border. It is a task undertaken only by a government. Yet these idiots didn't think of the scale and thought they'd be able to raise the money. Here's Steve Bannon's statement. Just days after being swatted 3 different times by deranged thugs from New York City, inspired by the Biden administration to assassinate me by police. Come on. Wow, talk about self-inflation. The Soros-backed DA has now decided to pursue phony charges against me 60 days before the midterm election because War Room, that's his show, is the major source of the MAGA grassroots movement. You're not running for office. You're not a candidate, Steve Bannon. And even if you were, criminality cannot be ignored just because you're running for office. But you're not. Statement continues. The Southern District of New York did the exact same thing in August 2020 to try to take me out of the election. You weren't a candidate, Steve Bannon. It didn't work then, it certainly won't work now. This is nothing more than a partisan political weaponization of the criminal justice system. I am proud to be a leading voice on protecting our borders and building a wall to keep our country safe from drugs and violent criminals. The War Room show will be more vital, more intense, more urgent, and bigger this time. They are coming after, and now here you go. This is what they do. They are charged with crimes. They are investigated for crimes. They commit crimes. And then the government comes after them to prosecute them for that crime, for those crimes. And instead of taking their lumps, they say they're coming after you too. No, they're not. Regular Joe and Jane Republican aren't bilking their Trump supporters for millions of dollars. It's the elite power structure of the Republican Party that does that. They are coming after all of us, not only President Trump and myself. I am never going to stop fighting. In fact, I have not yet begun to fight. They will have to kill me first. Who does this language work with? I should start doing this on this channel. They're going to have to kill me first. I need your support. I mean, look, I do. This is largely between ad revenue and listener support, viewer support, audience support, absolutely. But when you make yourself a cult figure, a guru type, and then you applicate that to begging for money, it's a tight spot. And that's what he does here. And then rather than back away from it, he leans into it. They're trying to kill me. I'm never going to stop fighting for you. Between me and President Trump and you, they're going to take us all down. It's Alex Jones crazy level. But he's friends with Alex Jones. What would you expect? Anyway, what do you think? I'd absolutely love to know. You can call. Leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. You can also email me daily@dollemore.com. Listen, follow me on social media. I am at Dollemore. Instagram, Twitter, still kicked off the old TikTok, but you know, it is what it is. And if you'd like to stop them from killing me, oh, I'm never going to stop fighting for you. Click the join button. below this video. Become a channel member for as little as $1.99 a month. Trust me, I'm not milking anybody for millions. That's the way to support my work. I would appreciate it. You can also go to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time for if I'm not killed first. You know, who knows? Things are crazy. Be genuine. Take care of one another.